Hello, community. The events of the past several weeks have been both horrifying and deeply hurtful. This is especially the case for people in our Black community for whom the killing of George Floyd by police in full view of the public reinforces their own lived experience that Black lives are perpetually in peril. For 100 years, the ACLU has dared to create a more perfect union. Our mission is to protect and extend the covenant of the United States Constitution to all people. Please know that the ACLU of San Diego and Imperial counties stands in solidarity with the Black community and many, many others in condemning police brutality and demanding police accountability and justice. We are united in solidarity with Minneapolis, Louisville, and communities reeling from the murders of Black people by police all over this country. We will not rest until there's an end to racist policing. We will not rest until there is real justice for George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and all who came before them, and unfortunately will likely come after them. I want to note that I recorded this Adelante conversation before the last couple of weeks of global uprising for Black lives. The time is now for all of us to come together to do the difficult work to unroot white supremacy, institutionalized racism, and to ensure that we, the people, truly means all of us. La lucha sigue. The struggle continues. Adelante. Hello, everyone. My name is Norma Chávez-Peterson. I'm the Executive Director of the ACLU of San Diego and Imperial counties. I hope that you and all of your loved ones are doing well during this difficult time for all of us. Welcome to Adelante, my video blog series, Onward in English. Today, I'm going to talk about how we must and we will and we can flatten the curve of inequality in our community. We cannot deny the fact that before this pandemic, our country, our state, our community was already experiencing serious inequality. There's been a history of inequality in our country that predates this pandemic. And we see how this is playing out in our own region, in our own community, in terms of the fact that this virus, yes, it doesn't discriminate, but we can't deny institutional racism and a history of discrimination in this country and conditions that have led to disproportionate impact of this virus. Right here in our own backyard, we see that communities in South Bay, in San Isidro, in National City are disproportionately, impacted by the virus in higher rates. These are folks that are predominantly communities of color, essential workers, those folks that are in the front lines, and they're the ones that are disproportionately impacted by this disease. We see that through the data. We see that when we read the news and hear the stories, but it's also frustrating. If we look at what's happening in the entire country, every governor is dealing with the situation differently. And even in our own county, we have our own supervisor, Jim Desmond, from the northern part of the region, that actually says that the folks that died and lost their battle with COVID because of pre-existing conditions do not matter. They do not count. That is not okay at all. What is this pandemic teaching us? How are we reflecting about what is most important in our lives? Our health, our loved ones, our family, right? But also our community. Because if I take care of my health, I take care of my community's health. So this pandemic hopefully is teaching us a lot about what's most important. But I also think that it's critical that we use this opportunity, this challenge, as a transformational moment, a moment to transform and address root causes of inequality. We must be grounded in our values that guide and inform not only how we live our life in the world, but what we want the world to look like for our children and our children's children. This time also requires courage and leadership and discomfort, because to change things that are not okay require a little bit of discomfort. It requires that some of us that might have to wrestle with our own privilege, with our own reality. And it's a moment for us to be thinking about our collective community and not just our own individual self-interest. This is a moment and an opportunity for transformation, but we cannot acquire that transformation or use this as a transformational moment if we're not willing to wrestle, to be courageous, and to be in this struggle. So speaking about struggle, I want to leave you with a quote that I hold near and dear to my heart every day. And it is a quote by the great Frederick Douglass, abolitionist and American reformer, who says that if there is no struggle, there is no progress. This is the moment for all of us to be in the struggle to address root causes of inequality. We must demand that science, equity, and data inform our response to COVID-19, not politics and not the status quo of racial inequality. But it will take every single one of us to demand and expect that our government, from the local, county, state, and federal level, really address those issues. But it will take us, the people, to make sure that that happens. Throughout the month of June, we've hosted a webinar series called Flatten the Curve of Inequality. Each webinar highlighted the challenges the COVID-19 pandemic has presented in relationship to specific civil rights issues like police accountability, decarceration, economic protections for families, justice for people experiencing homelessness, and education equity. Make sure you visit our YouTube channel to watch any of these webinars. The final webinar of the series will be this Thursday, July 2nd at 6 p.m., where we, along with our community partners, will be discussing the needs and challenges of students in regards to distance learning, youth mental health, special education, and more during this pandemic.